So how do we start the game on this big board? In the previous course, we had a very good principle to follow here. It was corners, sides, center. And this principle still applies for 19 by 19. But in this case, I'm going to modify it just a little bit. And now it's going to sound like this. Corner, corner, sides, center. What do I mean by that? Do I mean that we have to take all of the corners now? All four of them? Not really, of course. So let's say that black takes the first corner, white takes the corner, black takes the corner, white takes the corner. What now? Now we have a lot of options here. Black could think about developing on this side, or maybe on this side, on that, attacking the corners on either side. You can split this side. So there are so many possibilities out there. The board is your oyster. But which of these options to choose? It's like playing Monopoly for the first time when you don't know which hotels to buy, which properties to go for, which investments to make. And in the world of Go, there's an option that you can choose in this case, and that is reinforcing your own corner. And surprisingly, this is exactly the options that modern computer programs have been recommending us. They tell us that there are many options out there, but reinforcing a corner is very often the best thing. And when I'm reviewing my own games with a computer, and I ask them, well, what about this move that I just played? And the computer says, it was fine, but reinforcing the corner was so much better, Vadim. And I say, I know that, but I just want to experiment. I want to try this. What about this move? And the computer says, fine, I guess. But the corner, Vadim, the corner is much more important. So let's try to follow that advice and go for the corner. Reinforcing the corner is known as a corner enclosure, and with this stone, with 3-4 for example, there are 4 major ones that you can consider. These 4. And let's go through them one by one very quickly. So this one is the more conservative option that's been played for hundreds of years. Very safe, very secure, very nice. This one is pretty much the same, but it's a little more open. It's hoping for this kind of development, but at the same time it leaves this kind of weakness that white can attack. Now, what about this? Just a little further and just a little more, and this is a lot more open, a lot more aggressive, and this is what computers really like, but much more difficult to control. So I'm suggesting you start with something like this, and then you develop from there. Now, what about that stone, the star point? Is there a corner enclosure for that one? Yes, there is, but you should remember that that stone, the 4-4, is not aiming for corner territory to begin with. So you should be ready that your opponent will invade and take this corner away from you. But if it so happens that you have the time, it's your turn, and the corner is still yours, you can think about reinforcing it right now. And you can do it in the same way. You can add a stone like this, or symmetrically like this, and the corner becomes a lot stronger. But even this move still doesn't make the corner 100% safe. It's still not quite yours, because this stone is a little further away from the corner. Like this, it's safer. It would be this shape. But like this, white still has a lot of options. White can invade like this, or maybe attach, or maybe play something like this, or maybe something else, and still invade and take some part of the corner, or maybe even the whole corner away from you. And you should remember that this is totally fine. This is how it's meant to be. And if you really want this corner to be safe and it should be yours, then you need one more stone for that. So if you still have more time and it's still your turn, then you can play here. Typically, this is the shape that people make to guarantee the corner. After this, black has the corner. But notice that black needs 3 stones to enclose this one, because we originally started with a star point, and only 2 stones to enclose this corner. Of course, black doesn't have to play so conservatively. Black can play pretty much anything. Black can do something aggressive like this, developing onto the side, or play anything else like this. But keep in mind that all of those moves probably don't quite guarantee you the corner. White can still invade and get something there, but you will get some compensation elsewhere. Now at this point I should probably tell you that a corner enclosure like this one, for example, it's not just abstract, but it has a certain direction in which it wants to develop. And to illustrate that, let's try to make some territory with this. Let's say that black adds another stone, and then one more. What do you think about this? So black is making some territory here, but it's all on the third line, and each stone black places on the board, black gets maybe 5 more points of territory. 1 more stone, 5 more points. It's okay as an investment, but it's not phenomenal. It's not gorgeous. It's not fabulous. And doesn't it just seem a little flat to you? So let's try to go in the other direction. So instead of this, let's say black plays like this. And then instead of defending it greedily like this, black plays an ambitious jump. Now what about now? With the same 2 moves, black made 25 extra points of territory. A lot more than before. Why is this? That's because this is not territory. This is a moyo. A moyo is a Japanese word which means a big framework that has the potential to become territory. So of course, white can easily reduce and maybe even invade and take it away, but black has a lot of potential to turn this into a territory in the future. One great book once said that a good moyo should be like a box. Square. And because as you now can see, this corner enclosure is facing that way, once you place some stones in that direction, this box-like construction will appear and it will grow naturally. So once again, let's say we want to develop in the other direction and we start adding stones just to make sure that we're safe here and we reinforce this territory as much as we can. This is also a box, but this is incredibly shallow and thin and small and it can't hold a lot of territory. This is like a safe. When you have a little safe and you can't put a lot of money inside, then it's not worth putting top-notch, state-of-the-art locks on it because it just can't hold too much. But once we develop in the other direction, it starts getting a lot more interesting very quickly. Let's say we add another stone like this, and then another stone like this, and then another stone here, and with just 5 extra moves, we've made this into a huge 90-point framework. This is a quarter of the board. If black manages to get all of this and convert it into territory, this might just decide the game. White might not be able to compensate for this and get enough territory elsewhere to even out the score, and so black might just win the game with this. So this kind of framework is very risky for both, because if white is not careful, then lets black have all of this, then the game might be over just here and now. So naturally, white is going to do everything he can to not let you get all of this territory. And at the same time, this is the kind of investment you want to make. It's big and it's so promising. It has so much potential. And of course, at this point, some of you will ask me, Vadim, but all of this is just beautiful castles in the sky, but of course, white will never let this happen. What if, instead of all this, white just attacks first? White attacks the corner, or attacks that corner. So what do we do if white attacks first? How do we handle this? This is a very, very good question, and this is exactly what we're going to talk about in this second lesson.